Welcome back. Have you ever wondered what's the strongest Factorio turret? Well, today we're gonna answer that question, as it's a bit more complicated than just big damage equal good. We must make this as definitive as possible. How are we going to do that? Well, we're gonna judge these turrets based on three things. First, how much they cost, how much do you have to maintain them for, and how much damage they deal. The scores would be added from the three main categories, giving us the final score, a 10 out of 10 being incredibly broken, and let's say a 3 out of 10 being, well, kind of terrible. So let us get into space to see how these turrets have aged in Space Age. Starting with the most iconic Nauvis turrets, the gun turret. It's the first turret you research, and the first turret to ever be added to Factorio. It costs about 40 copper and some gears, requiring at least one furnace stack for iron and some copper. It does take some time to craft, but it's super easy to automate. As for maintaining it, you need a belt of ammo to supply it, as it goes through ammo semi-quickly, or you could just dump a bunch of ammo in its inventory and, not think too much about it. The damage is fine, especially for the early game. It's also one of the turrets capable of dealing physical damage, which works decently well for different scenarios. But as the biters evolve, and as soon as you enter the mid to late game, it does start to fall off a bit, as it struggles against anything with high physical toughness like big biters or giant worms, or even massive asteroids. In general, it's a pretty well-rounded turret, but not completely defenseless however, as you can equip powerful ammo types and research upgrades, as well as them being highly spammable, which works very well as a panic option. And because of that, it gets a well-rounded score of 6.6, putting it in high B tier. Do you like lasers? Well, count yourself lucky, because we got the laser turret, using the power of the sun to burn through enemies, requiring you to find and refine oil to craft batteries, and some pretty easy to get components. However, with great power comes great electricity bill, as it can draw up to 3.8 megawatts of energy, equivalent to 62 solar panels or 4 steam generators. Similar to the gun turret, it's also pretty easy to automate, just requiring a bit more advanced intermediate components and being a bit, let's say, oiled up.
Come over here and kiss me on my...
The best way to maintain it is through using capacitors, since its power demands depend on if it's just existing or dealing with an angry mob of protesters. It has some good damage, and as you would expect from a laser weapon, really good range. It's basically just a gun turret without the gun part. Just grab some power poles and run wild with it. Also makes a spectacular laser show when the biters start getting a bit too quirky at night. In general, it's essentially a gun turret but better, earning it the final score of 7 and putting it in A tier.
I'm a fire in my laser!
If you like the gun turret, you will probably also like the rocket turret. Guns are cool, but rockets are even cooler and more American. Okay, I'll stop making that joke, but the rocket turret is an interesting one, you see. For some odd reason, it can't shoot in front of itself, similar to another turret. I wonder why. To craft it, you need to explore Gleba and unlock its tech tree, surprisingly enough, since it requires carbon fiber, which for a turret with the head of a Spidertron is decent, not too complex, but can be very annoying because, it's Gleba. But I mean, look at it, it shoots missiles. Very similarly to the gun turret, you just need a belt of rockets, which you also have the luxury of selecting whichever type is best for your situation. Just maybe don't automate explosive missiles or, dear god, nuclear missiles. Next up, we got the turret every Factorio ranking video likes to glaze, the flame turret. This turret will surely put you on a top 10 war crimes list. To maintain it, it is literally stupid simple. Since it runs on oil, liquids are much easier to buffer than items, so it's very unlikely that you will ever have a problem with its supply. Unlike most turrets so far, this one does infinite AoE, and not only that, it does damage over time for every tile, making it extremely dangerous with its high damage compared to its cost. Similar to the rocket turret, however, it can shoot in front of itself, even though it does no damage to friendly buildings. Realistically, however, if the flame lands on the turret itself, it will probably blow. Do you like Tesla? Well, we got that Tesla turret, which honestly I'm not really a big fan of. Let me show you why. It requires a lot for what it does. Mainly high-tech Fulgorian stuff like supercapacitors using a electromagnet plant, making its production a bit more complicated. What's really interesting is that this turret, even though it's unlocked in Fulgora, the only place I've seen people use it is Gleba. Why? Well, because Gleba enemies seek extra damage from electric attacks, which honestly is pretty effective, but to maintain it, however, you need what the laser turret needed tenfold in a planet that doesn't even expect you to be using that much power. It's not entirely bad against other enemies, however, for its cost and high maintenance, there's simply just better options. It looks cool though, and that's probably one of the only redeeming qualities of this turret. It really needs a buff, but before that happens, I will put it in C tier. But is there any turret that's possibly stronger than all of these while also being easy to get? Well, yes, and it's a turret every turret ranking video tends to overlook. It's the artillery turret. While not seemingly like a conventional turret, it has basically infinite range that can span the entire map. Not only that, but it basically functions as a tank turret with research upgrades that can make it extremely cursed and extremely overpowered. And it's not even that complicated to make, while still basically mugging almost every other turret. But here's the issue. This turret was before Space Age, but soon after that, I have realized that you need to go to Vulcanus to get the tungsten plates you need, which I think is actually a really good game design change by the devs. So pre-Space Age, artillery turret was the best turret in the game. However, after Space Age, I think it deserves its place in C tier. Oh, what's that? I forgot one turret. Oh, how can I forget the Railgun Turret? To craft this turret, you need basically everything in the game. Not for the turret itself, but just to get your foot on Aquilo and finish its tech tree. Not only does it require special type of ammo, but also power. So how can we justify its use for being one of the hardest turrets to get? I will let you see for yourself. S tier. So that's basically this video. It was surprisingly harder to make than I initially thought, and honestly, I'm looking forward to see what the turrets the Factorio devs would add next. If you like my content, consider subscribing. That's something I rarely say, but it would mean a lot to me. And maybe leave a comment on what you think about my rankings. Until the next video.